Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special Sunday night edition of Take the Black Live, the show where we talk about all things sci-fi fantasy. But in this case, our Sunday shows talk about all things House of the Dragon, HBO's Game of Thrones prequel show. I am Dan Sugg, the editor of WintersComing.net, and I am here with Camila Dominguez, a fan-sided all-around Ubermensch, and Natalie Zamora, supervisor extraordinaire. Hey guys, welcome to Take the Black.
Hello.
Hello. Excited to be here.
Very.
Ditto. We already have some of you guys in the chat. Good to see you. David Carpenter is Team Black. Although, I don't know, after this one, feel like I'm wavering a little bit, and I'll tell you guys why. Julie Davies asks, who else hates Kristen Cole? Is it just me? I think everybody does. We all hate Kristen Cole. Look, that's not I mean, of course, the episode ended with Alicent slapping his face. Who wouldn't want to slap his face whenever they see him? And Robert Harris says, hell of an episode. I think it's top notch. Kristen Cole sucks even more. Kristen Cole seems to be uniting people and how much they hate him, which I can't especially blame them for. I'll start things off. Robert, I agree. This is good. I was sort of wavery a bit on the first episode. I don't know. I liked it, but I thought there was a couple of issues. This one was definitely... If they want to have a show that is slow and steady but interesting to watch, this is the way to do it. Mm-hmm. It did move very deliberately, but I was rather captivated the whole time. Anybody else have some favorite bits or things they want to get off their chest immediately?
I hate Kristen. That's all. Crispy.
There we go.
I disrespect him. Crispy Cole. Oh, I hate this man so much.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We can start there because Kristen, okay, I agree with y'all. Of course, I agree with you. I agree with everybody in the chat. I agree with the Pope. I agree with everyone who thinks Kristen Cole is terrible, who everybody agrees. I will say I am into a character, and that poor dog, I know, Julie. Yes. I am into a character if they interest me. And my problem with Kristen Cole hasn't been so much that I just hate him and who he is. I wasn't really sure. I've had a little trouble finding out who he is in general. Mm-hmm. He's a bit of a blank slate to me. He's just like this blank slate who does awful things. I liked the scene where he is trying to convince Sir Eric or Arik. I'm sorry. I've read the book and watched the episode 3 times. I still am not 100% clear on which is which. Where he's trying to convince him to go to Dragonstone to kill Rhaenyra, which is a suicide mission, which is terrible, he's manipulating him into doing it. But I liked that I saw the gears in his head turning, because he's projecting, right? He's like, I feel guilty that I was boffing the queen while this was going down. And now I'm taking out my... frustration with myself on this twin and saying like, where were you? And he's like, I was guarding the kind of a King's Guard. Like, oh, so you weren't guarding the people? Like, no, I wasn't. That's not my job. Like, well, I guess you're supposed to go commit suicide to make up for it then. Like, it was all projection. But at least I got it. I got where he was coming from, and where he was coming from sucked as usual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't stand. It's sad because like we all know a Crispy in our lives, and it's just like, bro, no, for sure. I mean, come on, like you get rejected and then you spiral down, and like, what if Rhaenyra had run away with him? How would it feel? It's just like, no, like I just despise him as a character. That his principle is, I got rejected, and now my entire life is making like her miserable. Her life needs to end because she didn't run away with me. It's like, no.
Okay, yeah. Natalie, go on.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, come on, it's been this long, and this is still your life story. This is still your whole personality. Like, he's obsessed with Rhaenyra. With Alicent, I understand. They were best friends and maybe more, and they have such a great love for each other. But yeah, like, Kristen, stop. Get a new hobby. Like, what are you doing?
Pick up woodworking or something. I got him more this time. We can move on, but I think I'm going to challenge. I'm going to challenge you guys. Natalie, I'd like you to say one nice thing about Kristen Cole. See if we can get some counter programs going.
He's, I don't know, honestly. I would say he's good looking, but at this point, I can't even say that because he annoys me so much.
He does.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Uh,
Let me. Okay, I want to go back to the beginning because my favorite part of this episode was probably the opening push, where it was the aftermath of the murder of Prince Jaehaerys, the blood and cheese scene. I just thought it was really good, and the reason I'm kind of waffling on Team Black, Team Green is because I'm really into Aegon Targaryen. I'm really into Tom Glencarney's performance of that. I really like how everyone in the room is kind of cool and collected, calm heads. They're, Alicent is a mess inside, and Otto's a manipulator and Machiavellian, and Aemon, who knows. But I like that King Aegon is screaming. He's throwing plates. He's overturning cups. He's waving swords around in his room. I believed him. I believed that he was bereft and on edge and nutso and spiraling. Yes, Camilla?
There's a but to that, though. His first thing was I could have been attacked. It's okay, so before you even mourn your child, you're going to say, I could have been attacked? Okay.
Totally. Oh, he's an ass. He's horrible.
Yeah.
I don't think he... I think he liked his son. My impression is that he had them more out of duty than out of deep and abiding desire to be a father.
For sure.
I don't think he loves his sister queen very much. That scene where they kind of walk by each other in the hallway.
Yeah.
I think he's a mess, but he's a mess that he's a believable mess, and he's a mess that I find compelling to watch spiral. So if I'm going to go Team Green for anybody, it's going to be for King Aegon. He's going to be my mess.
He's a good villain. He's much better than Kristen. With Kristen, I don't even think he's entertaining at this point. But with Aegon, he's very entertaining.
Crispy has no redeeming qualities. No redeeming qualities. Meanwhile, Aegon, however you pronounce his name, I apologize. It's kind of relatable slightly. He didn't want to be king, now he is, and all this stuff's happening. He could have gone differently about things, but
Oh yeah.
Nobody's.
I'll say it. I agree with Julie. I felt sorry for him too. I want at that final scene where he was weeping in the room. I wanted Alicent to go to him. I wanted Alicent to go to him and to put her arm around him and say, "It's okay, you psychopathic,
you imbecile,
moron. Everything will be fine." But she didn't. And I like that final bit of scenes too. Did you notice that where it's Otto and Alicent talking, and Alicent's on the precipice of revealing her dirty little Kristen Cole secret to him, and he's like, "You know what? Why don't you? I'm going to stop you right there. I'd rather you not talk about it." And then she goes and she sees her own son crying, and she's like, "I'd rather not talk about it." And instead she goes to find comfort in slapping the face off Kristen Cole, which again, it's not entirely unrelatable. So you can kind of see, it's a little cliche, but I did think it landed the way that I blame Otto for all of this. I think he didn't give Alicent the skills as a parent to relate to people, and then she didn't give her kids the skills to relate to people, and the whole family's messed up because of this. Yep. And they all happen to be royals and they have dragons, and now the whole realm's going to pay for it.
Yeah, you could say that about all of the characters, I think. It's just passed down terribleness.
Viserys gets a pass for actually loving Rhaenyra, but
But he didn't love the other ones, so he's not completely faultless here either. As much as Otto was like, "Your father was so great. His forbearance, his judiciousness, his dignity." Ooh, and he looks at King Aegon and is like, "Your father was right about you." Ooh, there's a lot of family on family crime. I mean, not just blacks and the greens, but inside the same family. They're bludgeoning each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nuts.
And then we have Daemon calling him a coward.
I loved it. Yeah. Daemon just.
Who Daemon call a coward?
Viserys.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
During the whole.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. There's a contrast there too.
There's just so much pent up energy that no one is letting out, and everyone is like, no one is speaking their true feelings. I think everyone's just projecting on each other, and it's just such a mess. I wish that Westeros had therapy. I think of this every episode.
Westeros therapy, no. But I think like you said, everybody is at like each other's throats and everything. I feel like the only one who I truly feel bad for right now is Rhaenyra. She literally did nothing. Yet they're like, oh, well, a mourning mother. Like, you could have gone and sent all these things. And it's like, I did nothing. But, like, it's, of course, everybody go on her because it was her kid who died. And she definitely could have said something, but she didn't. She literally has no idea what's going on. And that's even more apparent, like, at the end. She's just.
Wait, how do you mean? So you're saying that Rhaenyra is blameless or ignorant?
She is definitely not blameless. I just feel bad because, like, in her grief, she is blind to what's going, like all the little pieces moving around.
Gotcha. Do we think one concern I had? So I'm watching this episode, and I think I'm enjoying the Red Keep segments more than the Dragonstone stuff overall. I really liked it, kind of King Aegon's raw nerve. I loved the scene where Otto got fire. I thought that was a really good one.
Yeah.
That was great. I was even kind of into Alicent and Kristen's hate sex because it was compelling. I'm not saying like I don't endorse it, but the funeral was very effective. Julie asked, we didn't feel bad for Helena. I mean, I think we all feel bad for Helena.
Oh, poor girl. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. And I'll say this is a little kind of like meta textual note. There are some images in the preview, in the weeks ahead preview, where they're at that funeral scene and like Alicent and Helena are like running around in the streets. And I don't know if that was cut or what's happened, but I watched the episode like waiting for that, and I was like gripping the edge of my chair. I'm not sure what happened there. I thought the scene worked quite nicely. I loved how that whole first section is kind of like this torpor, like thick-headed sequence. I like the scenes of like Helena's veil over her face and just kind of like staring up, like she's clearly still in shock. She shouldn't be doing this. I liked anyone just kind of holding a coin up to his eye. It was kind of surreal, that whole first scene. I really thought it was getting me in sort of a subliminal way. I just enjoyed the whole ride and was tense and felt bad for Helena. Yes.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying we all feel bad about Helena. She is the victim in this entire thing, 100%. It's sad, very sad.
Definitely want to respond to Robert Harris. The hate sex so is necessary. You know what, Robert? I disagree. I'm kind of into the hate sex. Because I get it. Like, I get that these are two, especially for Alicent, but even for Kristen, these are two people who absolutely kind of loathe themselves. And they are unable to come to any kind of emotional satisfaction in any healthy way. Yeah. So this is their solution. I get it. And I'm a convert. Another fun, juicy thing happening over in the Red Keep. My question for you guys is going to be over on Dragonstone. So Rhaenyra and Daemon had that big blow up. Do we think Rhaenyra is being painted as a little... She's so comparatively less messy than everybody else over in the Red Keep, which for me is almost a downside because I apparently want to see people really messed up.
Right.
Is she in danger of becoming dull, or are we still interested?
Nah, this is the calm before the storm.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I really love her. So I could see if it is like multiple episodes of her just being the good person, then
Sure.
that might get a little boring. But I did really, really like her and Daemon scene. When I just watched it tonight, I just kept thinking about how she's just such a great arguer. Like, she gets the point across without crossing the line, which no one in their life could ever do. And so I just thought like it spoke volumes to just her as a person. I think she's really gentle and just a good person, which maybe can be boring, but I just really, really respected her in that moment.
Yeah, and Emma Darcy does a wonderful job. Right
Good
now. Like,
Lord.
they are so talented. It's
They're really good.
Insane.
if anybody comes out, I mean, Matt Smith already has a big career. If anybody like pulls a Game of Thrones from this show and like becomes a famous star and gets these big opportunities out of this show, it's probably going to be Emma Darcy. They're very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
And I also love how that Damon Rhaenyra scene, I like how long it was. I like how sometimes I get worried that these kind of long talky scenes might be a little dull, but there's also a great advantage in just writing a ton of dialogue, or so can hash out everything and letting them kind of play with the ebb and flow. At some point, if you just put Matt Smith and Emma Darcy in a room together and let them rip, you're going to get something good. And that scene was very entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Do we agree with anybody? Can anyone make an argument that Damon is on the right side of the fight?
I mean, I could make the argument. I don't necessarily agree with it, though.
I mean, as the black sheep of the family, like, I relate. But it's like, dude, you're very impulsive. You give everybody like very solid reasons to distrust you, my man. It's not uncalled for.
Natalie, why don't you make the argument? I'm curious to hear if hear what it is.
My only argument is just, it's Westeros, it's war, they killed a kid, you gotta kill another one. Like, why not? We're already doing this. That's the only thing. I can just hear, like, I feel like Matt Smith, when he talks about the show and like Damon's actions, he's just so passionate about like, it's fucking Westeros. True. Like, let's just do it. So I think that's how he would explain it. Like, it's a son for a son. We're out to get revenge. Sorry, Rhaenyra, we're doing it. But there's a lot more complexity than just that.
Yeah, I think he feels like everything can be solved with like killing, which is like the mindset. But
yeah, he's a loose cannon. I do wonder though, with Rhaenyra, this would make her more interesting. Like, I know she called first. She wanted Aemond. She didn't specify like what else, or like anything else, and so. I think Damon was in the wrong, but at the same time, it's like, is she feeling bad because she did give a directive and now it's turned into something else and she's kind of backtracking like, I never said that. It's like, well, you said something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you can probably reasonably assume that giving a general directive in there, I mean, that's a big step for your general to hire assassins and send them into a high dog and send them into a castle to kill whoever. And then the way it ends is fairly open-ended. He kind of leaves. Is he still with her? Is he not?
I know. I'm sad because I wonder if that's the last scene we're going to see of them for a long time. And
probably.
I don't want that to be the case. But yeah, it would make sense that they're not going to be together.
Yeah. It leaves room for very interesting things to happen in the meantime.
Yeah.
Developed.
Speaking of one interesting thing, okay, let's talk about Twin Brother Bowl. Twin brothers going at it. Twin brothers, Kingsguard, Eric and Arik.
So sad.
Who, by the way, I've looked up which one is with which king and queen like multiple times, but it's spelled the same but with an A and an E.
Yeah.
So I can't be responsible for remembering everything.
Arik is with the Greens. Eric is with Rhaenyra.
Yes.
Arik is with the Greens with an A.
It's an identical twin monster. You just know who's who at all times.
Okay, that's true. You do have twins.
I do. Arik.
Does that help you?
Well, no, but like I slapped my knee so hard when Sir Laurent was like, "Which one's which?" Yes, which one is which? But no, I mean, it was hard to keep up with it at first, but then I picked up like little subtleties, and I was like, okay, so this one's this one. That one.
But having the subtitles on helps because then you see the A or the E.
Subtitles also do help, but like during the fight, it's just like, who are we watching get their knee sliced? Who are we watching getting killed?
I have thank you, Julie. That's very helpful. I have a artistic theory about the melding of them toward the end. First of all, I'll say that as a snobby book reader, I couldn't, because the book Fire and Blood, George R. R. Martin's book, is a good book. It's kind of what the show is based on. And part of me was irritated that they cut out scenes that kind of established the brotherly bond they had beforehand. There's a scene where after the coups happened and they've both taken up sides and they both like come back together and try to convince each other to switch sides because they know that if they don't, they're going to have to fight each other sooner or later. And I just really wanted something like that because we don't really know them that well, but here they are having a big climactic, dramatic showdown. It still worked, though. I mean, it's still, as with what setup they had, they did as good a job as they could with it. It was emotional. I thought it was well paced. Like him walking around, of course, he like sees his own brother and he's like, oh, duck behind a pillar to make sure he's not found out. Of course, we had that. And I kind of liked, here's my pet theory, that in the end, Sir Laurent couldn't tell which one of them was the real one. We couldn't really tell because they're identical and they wear the same outfit. They do everything together and the same beard and they never shave it. My theory is that okay, which one is the that Arik, the one who's working for the Greens, actually killed Eric, who's working for the Blacks. And even though Arik's mission was to kill Rhaenyra, that in the end he was so mortified by what he did, he killed himself, even though he was actually the green guy. And I think that's a commentary on how war blurs the boundaries between what's right and wrong, what's just and unjust, what's true and false. And that's my way of making a scene I thought was good, a good scene, a little more punchy. Because I wanted a bit more setup, but I liked the way it was done. I thought it was dramatic. I thought the fight was good. And now I have this headcanon where the one we think died first didn't die first. The one we think killed himself first didn't actually kill himself. It was the other one.
I actually had thought it was Eric who died or who killed Eric first, and then Eric killed himself. That's what I understood, or at least that's what I wanted to think too. Very similar.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one then. Excellent.
Yeah, that would have been better. I wonder, I'm sure the interviews are going to start coming out tomorrow, and then we'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah, but I still dislike Crispy for doing this. That was a really cheap shot.
It was horrible. It was horrible. But I don't know. That's might be my favorite thing Crispin Cole has done so far. Because I got it. Because I saw the gears turning. Because I understood where this horribly messed up person was coming from.
Yeah.
As long as someone's entertaining, I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care if you're a good guy entertaining, if you're a bad guy entertaining, as long as I get you. Crispin Cole, my problem with him has been he was awful, but not really in an entertaining way. But that was a step up. Yeah. So I'm looking for you, Kristen. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you to be entertaining and then die.
He crossed the line of like just whiny and annoying to whiny, annoying, and dangerous. So it's like, yeah.
I know. Now he's the Hand, so that's going to work out really well.
Yeah. He will confidently blunder into some kind of horrible thing. It's going to be good. Robert notes he would have, so that there was that, and that was good, the way they set it up with Mysaria gets let go, and then she walks down the hill, and it's like, and then, of course, we assume it happens off screen. I like that. That was fun. It adds a little bit of tension and drama. Will she make it in time? I'll say this about briefly some smaller characters. I thought Mysaria was probably the best I've ever liked during this episode.
Yeah.
She's been one who's, I don't know, is like, oh, it's this person's on screen again. Yeah. Never been terribly excited by it. But I liked her more here. I like that she no longer has that weird accent. And I don't know. I like that she was talking with Rhaenyra. She was kind of making calls. I like that she was getting kind of rueful and bitter about her past, putting it in perspective. I liked her. I liked her more here than I have before, which bodes well.
Yeah, I agree. I liked her and Rhaenyra together a lot. It's one of those things where it's like they're never going to be friends, but I just love their kind of like quick bonds that they made. That was nice. Women, we love them.
Yeah.
Do you think it was stupid of Rhaenyra to let her go? I thought that was maybe a little stretching it in a time of war. Let the Spy Master go. I mean, it paid off.
Yeah, it paid off. Yeah. I don't know. Again, your belief that Rhaenyra's too nice. Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. Camilla, what do you think, Camilla?
I thought it was great. Like I said, she is in deep mourning. She is blinded to like the pieces moving around her in her own team, and I think she did what she honored the promise that was given to her by her house. It's honor is a good thing to have, even though it does literally nothing in Westeros. She's trying. She's trying.
She's trying.
I thought it was a good thing. I really like Rhaenyra a lot.
I do too. I hope she's challenged. And 'cause I don't know. I guess it's just me. My favorites tend to be the ones who are most messed up. I'm transferring my allegiance to Alicent, who I did think have a good episode. I liked her trying to like gently push her crazy son in the direction of following Otto's advice. And again, I liked the hate sex. So I have my eye on Alicent.
Speaking of messy, though, Aemond, that is a mess that I'm all in for.
My mess, yes.
Go ahead, because I'm not sure. What do you guys make of the Aemond scene? I mean, I guess the big one is him curled up in a little, very skinny ball in the naked lap of a brothel keeper.
Camilla, I'll let you go first because I know that is your man.
Yes, I do love Aemond very much, and I like what we're seeing. I think it's a fun side of things. Like he says, he feels bad about killing his nephew, which I mean, you don't get that in Fire and Blood. He was cold-blooded and calculated, and even went after his eye. And this is a completely different side, completely different kind of perspective. And I think he's like a banana. He's just getting peeled. We're seeing his legs. It's great. I love it. And Euron does a wonderful job at playing Aemond. Like, oh, so good. Yeah.
I really liked the visual of, because Aemond is this kind of guy who's, even when he's not wearing armor, he's armored. He's like a walking badass. He's the Terminator of Westeros.
Oh, yeah.
But seeing him like, I don't know, naked, curled in a fetal position, looking very kind of thin and vulnerable, that was a good look for him, or at least an interesting look for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No eye patch either. He was bearing it. He was for his little confidant there. Nice.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have to sit with it for a little bit and think about it, but I think it's interesting that, people always compare him to Daemon, but I don't think we would ever get a scene like that of Daemon. So this vulnerability almost makes him like more powerful to me. It's interesting.
Totally. No,
I never thought about that. That is interesting.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Robert Harris. Oh, talking about the Unsullied of Meereen, kind of calling back to that. I can see that because I don't want to speculate about Aemon's sex life too much. I wouldn't know where to begin. But yeah, interesting side. I said a couple other things for the book nerds out there. They mentioned Daeron Targaryen, who I was shocked. I really was. I did not think if they hadn't talked about him, he's Alicent's other son with the king, the youngest one, who's off in Old Town being fostered, younger brother to Helena and Aegon and Aemond. I figured if they weren't going to have him up to this point or not even talk about him, he was cut. So I was flat out like, they didn't. Really? Okay, go off. Have fun. I'd rather that. And then there's a couple of other slower scenes where they introduce these small folk characters who, if you've read the book, you probably know where that's going. And if you haven't, you might be thinking, who is this guy and his wife and his sick daughter? Or who are these two brothers who live on Driftmark and work on ships? And why are we watching them? And why does it matter? And get back to the Daemon and the Aemon and the Rhaenyra and all that stuff. But I don't know if we need to talk about that too much. Did those scenes work for you? Because you both read the book, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do think, if I didn't read the book, I would probably be like, who are these people? This is boring. But promise non-book readers, it will be important.
I didn't think it was boring because like the way that the dialogue between Adam and Alan they're like, oh, he owes us or he owes you, whatever.
Yeah, that was good.
Ooh, tea, spill it now. That's what I would be feeling.
Fair enough. And they did bring in Hugh Hammer the last episode where he was Petition the King. Also, I didn't realize this. The guy who was looking up at the hanged rat catchers outside the Red Keep is Ulf White, who is another of the Dragon Seeds who will be important later. I've watched the episodes all multiple times, and I find these tend to get better on rewatch. On this third time around tonight, I noticed that Ulf White in that brief little scene stole a little like thing out of the pack of a salesman as he was just walking by and put it like under his coat. And I'm like, oh, fun. A bit of characterization for a drunk thief who will be more important later. And yes, someone mentioned there that they brought Cheese the Rat Catcher's dog back for a final cameo who got kicked in the last episode.
Yeah.
Good to know he's okay, I guess.
He's alive.
That
and
was nice of
kicking.
you.
Terrible.
He survived the kicking, yeah.
Yeah. No pun intended.
Poor dog.
Yeah.
And Robert's right. The book said she's never found, but the show is showing him hanging. I mean, he was never found, but that could fit into the canon. He never found, but they did kill all the rat catchers. Maybe he was one of them. No one knows what he looks like. They killed Blood, so no one can know. Did you guys have an MVP from the episode?
Yeah. As much as I absolutely despise Otto, you guys have I get it now. You have educated me in your feelings and thoughts about Otto in this episode, and I feel bad for him now. And I thought that at the end when he's just letting Aegon have it was he kind of needed to hear all that.
Yeah.
It was fun to see him pop off. I didn't think he'd be that angry. And it's great to see like an actor show what they can do too. Like you give an actor like Rissa Fons, an icon from Notting Hill and other projects, and tell him, and he plays this like buttoned down character, but then gets to scream and yell and say, my grandson's an idiot. It was very satisfying. Did you feel bad for him when he got fired? A little bit.
I was like, yeah, there's a door by, but then I'm like, oh no, come back. You're so much better. Come back.
Yeah, the other option is way worse. So
hard no. But,
yeah.
Natalie, do you have one?
I definitely really liked Otto in this episode, although in the beginning not so much, but just that scene I thought was great. Like when Aegon was like, he's just gonna pretend to be his brother, and you could see the look on Otto's face, like these people are fucking idiots. It was so funny.
That almost worked.
Almost. And I mean, I feel like every week it'll be Rhaenyra also. Last week she only had one line, still my favorite. So Rhaenyra and Aemond, I guess. Got a trio there.
You mean Aemond, right? Not Aegon?
Aemond. Yeah, Aemond.
Okay, well, you know what? I think this is good because we're all disagreeing, which is the sign of a show that has a deep cast. Because I'm with Robert. Yeah, Aegon last week, Aegon this week, he's the star of the show for me right now. He's a raw nerve. He's popping off. He's unpredictable. He's very sad. He's very eager. He's upset all the time. The actor's killing it. I'm really liking him a lot. Bringing a lot of energy to it. Because I'm interested because in the last season, it felt like I would only be interested in the black side of things. And now I just want to spend more time in the Red Keep with the Greens, seeing their weird soap opera play out.
I feel like
in her toes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The Greens are fun to watch because it's like it's just it's like a house of cards. Everything is literally just falling apart over and over. Nobody is a saint. Everybody except for Helena, forever. Yeah. But like everything is doing something. Everyone's doing something wrong, and it's incredibly entertaining and painful to watch at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm into it.
Agreed.
Yeah. In conclusion, I enjoyed it. That was a step up, a good, steady, slow, solid premiere. Someone said up there that someone at the back of our chat. Thanks guys for chatting, by the way. Loving all your comments. They feel less invested in the season than the first. I kind of felt like that at first. It's gaining me back, though. It's roping me back in. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I really, really do wish that networks like HBO would find a way to get seasons of this thing out quicker.
Yeah.
And I know that they had trouble this year with the strikes and the lingering effects of COVID. But I'm still waiting for someone to crack that nut. And when they do, I will applaud you, which I'm sure you will be very thankful for. Any final thoughts, you guys, on this episode? Anything else you want to say?
I do think that once we're talking about blacks versus greens, who's more entertaining to watch, I think it's a good thing that it seems like they're going to be splitting the blacks up a bit.
Yes.
Because if we just had them at Dragonstone being more or less good people, that would be really boring. So I think they're going to get more interesting, even if they're not evil, in the episodes to come.
Yeah.
Camilla?
I am loving the setup for everything. I think I'm in the minority when I say I enjoyed Blood and Cheese, like how things were done differently. And I'm liking the adaptation more and more. I like the fact that we can play off the unreliable narrator from the book aspect with everything. Like, did it really happen as it was written, or are we seeing how it actually happened and they're just trying to smear? Like, I'm just really liking how everything's being adapted. I can't wait. See episode 3.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. I'm into it. I'm back, and I'm glad that you guys out there who are watching and commenting are into it too. Bry Pop wanted more interaction there. Can I ask Bry Pop, between who exactly do you want more interaction? Let us know, because we read your comments and we respond. I'll give you a minute because we are going to wrap this up here in a second. But thanks for watching, everybody. We do this every Sunday at, whenever the episode ends, basically. So around 9-ish Central Time, 10-ish on the East Coast, I guess 8-ish in the mountains, and 7 on the West Coast. We also stream episodes of Take the Black, talk about all things sci-fi, fantasy, movies, TV, etc. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. CST. We took last Wednesday off for Juneteenth, but we are back this Wednesday with more chatter. Leave a like, leave a comment. You guys are on that. Subscribe. Give us attention. If you don't give it to us, we will wither and die. Not really. That's not medical advice. Just thanks for watching us. Also, we're in podcast form wherever podcasts are available, be it Google, YouTube Music, or elsewhere. Thanks for watching. See you later, and goodbye.